Have you ever felt like you're pouring your heart into helping others, only to feel drained, unappreciated, or even taken advantage of? If so, you're not alone. In today's video, we'll explore the 7 types of people you should avoid helping. Those who thrive on your kindness without ever changing or showing gratitude. We'll dive deep into the emotional toll of helping the perpetual victim, the know-it-all, the manipulator, and others who drain your energy without offering anything in return. But don't worry, we'll also share key lessons on how to set boundaries and protect your peace, while still offering genuine support. Stick with us to learn how to protect yourself from burnout and focus your energy on the right people, because your time, love, and support are too valuable to be wasted. Watch till the end for crucial insights that could change the way you give and help you reclaim your emotional well-being. Before we start, I'd appreciate your support. If you liked the video, please subscribe and hit the bell to stay updated on future lessons from God. The perpetual victim is someone who seems perpetually trapped in an endless whirlwind of crisis, yet never seems to truly take responsibility for the chaos they find themselves in. They are brilliant manipulators of their narrative, expertly shifting the blame to others without ever considering the role they may have played in the unfolding disaster. The world is always conspiring against them, and they have become so adept at playing this victimized role that it feels like a scripted performance. Each line delivered with an air of entitlement, each misfortune exaggerated for maximum sympathy. These individuals crave attention like a thirsty soul yearning for water, feeding off the compassion of those around them to soothe their inner emotional storm. They want nothing more than to be seen, heard, and pitied, as their problems become a constant parade of dramatic tales meant to keep others emotionally invested in their plight. But assisting a perpetual victim often feels like an exhausting and soul-sucking cycle, a race that never seems to have a finish line. Their purpose isn't to seek a resolution, but to remain wrapped in a web of excuses, constantly pointing fingers at others, while dodging any sort of self-reflection or growth. No matter how much help you provide, or how much love or advice you offer, they remain steadfast in their inertia. They seem comfortable in their suffering, as if it is their one true identity, expecting you to play the role of their savior without ever taking the initiative to change. Their endless pit of despair seems bottomless, and every attempt to pull them out is met with resistance. They resist change with every fiber of their being, content to remain stuck in their narrative of helplessness. To deal with this type of person requires a delicate balance of empathy and strength. You must listen to their troubles, offering your compassion and understanding, but never allow yourself to become ensnared in their unyielding cycle of negativity. Gently guide them toward the idea that they need professional help, such as therapy or counseling, where they can learn to take ownership of their life and their circumstances. Your role is not to carry the weight of their emotional burdens, but to be a beacon of support, encouraging them to step into their power. By setting clear boundaries, you can protect your mental health while still offering the kindness and care they desperately need. The moment you give in and take on their emotional baggage as your own, you begin to lose yourself in their turmoil. It's essential to recognize this pattern early and focus your energy on those who are willing to take action and change, as investing in someone who refuses to take responsibility can drain you, leaving you emotionally depleted and unfulfilled. Now, the know-it-all is a different breed altogether, yet equally draining in its own right. This person believes they have all the answers, their confidence bordering on arrogance, dismissing any advice that doesn't align with their rigid worldview. Conversations with a know-it-all are dominated by their unwavering certainty, with little room for anyone else's voice to be heard. When you try to offer your perspective, it's not only ignored but ridiculed, as if your insights are beneath their superior wisdom. They are convinced that they are the sole custodian of truth, and no amount of logic reason, or outside input can penetrate their thick wall of self-assurance. Helping someone like this can feel like banging your head against a wall. Any attempt to guide them is met with impenetrable resistance, like trying to speak to a stone. They might ask for your advice, but their request is merely a formality, a way to placate you while they continue to operate under the belief that they already know what's best. Their stubbornness is a force of nature, rendering your efforts futile and leaving you frustrated and unheard. The best course of action is to step back, to allow them to face the consequences of their actions. Sometimes, the only way for a know-it-all to truly learn is to fall, to feel the sting of their own mistakes and experience firsthand the fallout of their refusal to listen. Only then will they begin to understand that others' wisdom is valuable, and only then might they soften their rigid beliefs. In both cases, whether dealing with the perpetual victim or the know-it-all, it is important to remember that you can't change someone who doesn't want to change. You can offer your support, your compassion, and your advice, but ultimately their growth is not in your hands. And as draining as these relationships may be, the best thing you can do for your well-being is to recognize when to step away and protect your peace, leaving the door open for true growth to occur only when they are ready to walk through it. When the know-it-all asks for your opinion, it's vital to offer it with the utmost honesty, but without any expectation that they will take it to heart. It can be tempting to believe that your guidance might be the turning point, but the reality is that their rigid mindset often prevents them from truly considering other perspectives. Offering your advice calmly and without pressure gives you the chance to share your insights, but also recognizes that they are ultimately the ones in control of their decisions, regardless of how sound or practical your advice may be. With a know-it-all, the key is to approach the situation with patience and an understanding that some lessons can only be learned through experience, no matter how many times you try to teach them otherwise. It's about knowing when to step back, to allow them to stumble, fall, and rise on their own. Sometimes the most helpful thing you can offer is not a solution, but the space for them to make their own mistakes, grow, and learn at their own pace. Now, the chronic complainer is a soul entirely different from the know-it-all, but just as emotionally exhausting. This individual thrives on negativity, constantly fixating on the problems and shortcomings of their life. Whether it's their career, their relationships, or their general state of being, it feels as though nothing is ever quite right, no matter how much effort is made to improve. Their outlook on life is often clouded by a thick fog of dissatisfaction, and they make it their mission to drag everyone around them into their perpetual storm of complaints. These individuals often seek attention, not by sharing achievements, but by highlighting every disappointment, misstep, or failure, expecting others to validate their unhappiness and confirm that their woes are real. It's as if their life is one endless litany of grievances, each more exhausting than the last. Being around a chronic complainer can leave you feeling emotionally drained and deflated. The frustrating part is that they don't want solutions, and they certainly don't want to hear advice. They're not seeking help to fix their problems, rather they are seeking sympathy, someone to listen to their endless complaints and nod in agreement. No matter how much you try to offer advice or potential solutions, it's rarely received with an open mind. Their negativity becomes an unrelenting echo, wearing you down without ever offering an opportunity for growth or change. The emotional toll of engaging with them can feel like trying to fill a bottomless pit, where every effort you make is swallowed up, leaving you feeling empty and unfulfilled. However, it's important to remember that helping a chronic complainer requires a balance of empathy and self-care. While it's important to listen, show compassion, and validate their feelings, it's equally important to establish clear boundaries to protect your well-being. Allowing yourself to become mired in their emotional quicksand will only leave you stuck in their cycle of negativity. Instead of getting caught in their constant whirlpool of dissatisfaction, gently encourage them to shift their focus toward the positive aspects of their life. Help them to see that while problems exist, they don't have to define their entire existence. If they're willing, suggest practical steps they can take to improve their situation, but don't force it. Sometimes all you can do is plant the seed and step back, trusting that they will either water it or let it wither on its own. But always remember, your emotional energy is a precious resource, and it should never be drained by someone else's perpetual pessimism. You can be a supportive ear without becoming a pawn in their emotional game. Protect yourself by drawing boundaries and not allowing their negativity to seep into your world. It's vital to remember that ultimately the chronic complainer must take responsibility for their mindset and take action if they wish to see change. You can offer your care, but you cannot fix their dissatisfaction for them. The manipulator is a truly insidious individual, appearing at first glance as someone who might just need a little extra support or guidance. However, this seemingly innocuous facade masks a much darker, more calculated purpose. While helping others is undoubtedly a noble pursuit, it becomes a dangerous endeavor when the person you're trying to assist is a manipulator. These individuals are exceptionally skilled in emotional manipulation, using guilt as a powerful weapon to play on your compassion. They twist and distort situations, often exaggerating or even fabricating scenarios to make you feel like the only person capable of offering help. Over time, they subtly shape your emotional responses, forcing you to believe that you must assist them, an obligation that they do not reciprocate in any meaningful way. The manipulator's true goal is not simply to resolve their issues, but to drain you of your emotional, mental, and sometimes even financial resources, without any intention of ever giving back. Manipulators are masters of control, but their tactics are often so subtle that they can go unnoticed until it's too late. They don't just ask for help. They craft a compelling narrative, one that portrays themselves as helpless, desperate, and utterly dependent on you. They know how to strike the perfect emotional chord, making it seem as though they are in a crisis that only you can solve. This creates a sense of urgency that clouds your judgment, compelling you to act immediately without fully processing whether you are being taken advantage of. At first, their requests may seem harmless or even reasonable. Perhaps they just need someone to talk to, or they're struggling with something difficult. But these requests soon evolve into demands, and their expectations begin to outweigh any genuine gratitude they may have initially shown. What starts as a small favor quickly snowballs into a pattern of continuous requests, each more urgent than the last. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 1 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. The manipulation doesn't stop at emotional pleas. These individuals often make false promises, assuring you that they will repay you in some way, whether it's through an act of kindness or a favor in return. But the promises they make are as empty as the air. As you continue to give, you realize that you're not receiving the same level of consideration in return. Instead, you are left feeling as though your efforts have been completely disregarded. Your emotional energy is drained, and you begin to question whether they ever truly appreciated the help you provided. The manipulator thrives on this one-sided relationship, draining you of your resources, all while maintaining the illusion of needing you. They leave you feeling unimportant and unseen because for them you are nothing more than a tool to be used until there is nothing left to extract. There's a deep emotional cost to being involved with manipulators, and this is where the danger lies. If you continue to help without recognizing the toxic pattern, you can slowly lose sight of who you are and what truly matters to you. Manipulators are experts at gradually undermining your sense of self-worth and making you feel responsible for their problems, even when it's clear that they refuse to take ownership of their own lives. They will create chaos, drama, and crises where none exist, all to keep you engaged and invested in their story. The longer you stay in this dynamic, the more emotionally fatigued you will become, and because they are so skilled at exploiting your emotions, it can be nearly impossible to break free without recognizing the manipulation for what it truly is. The Bible gives us an invaluable reminder about the importance of surrounding ourselves with positive influences. In 1 Corinthians 15:33, it cautions, "Do not be misled. Bad company corrupts good character." This warning resonates deeply because manipulators are not just draining, they can slowly erode your character, your integrity, and even your perspective on relationships. If you continuously allow someone to manipulate your emotions, it becomes increasingly difficult to maintain a healthy mindset. You may begin to believe that this behavior is acceptable, that it's normal for relationships to be built on one-sided sacrifices. But the reality is that it's anything but normal. It's toxic, and it can have far-reaching effects on your emotional well-being. Recognizing a manipulator can be a challenging but essential first step. They're often charming, convincing, and able to keep up the facade for longer than you might expect. But there are often telltale signs if you take a step back and look at the situation objectively. Do they constantly ask for favors without ever offering anything in return? Do they always seem to be in a crisis that only you can solve? Have their requests become more frequent and demanding over time? Are their promises to repay or show gratitude starting to feel empty and unfulfilled? If you find yourself in a relationship where these signs are present, it's time to step back and take a hard look at whether this person truly values you or is simply taking advantage of your kindness. One of the most critical things you can do to protect yourself from being manipulated is to establish firm, clear boundaries. This is often the hardest step, especially when you've already invested so much emotionally, but it's essential. Setting boundaries allows you to protect your mental and emotional space, ensuring that you are not constantly giving without receiving. It's okay to say no. It's okay to recognize that someone's demands are unrealistic and that you are not obligated to sacrifice your well-being for their comfort. Learning to say no is not a sign of weakness. It's a sign of strength and self-respect. It shows that you recognize your value and that you are unwilling to allow someone else to exploit your kindness. While it can be difficult to break free from the grip of a manipulator, it's important to remember that you have the power to regain control of your life. By setting boundaries, seeking support from others who can help you see the situation more clearly, and reminding yourself of your worth, you can protect yourself from further manipulator. Manipulators thrive on your inability to say no, on your willingness to give and give without ever receiving in return. But once you recognize the pattern and take action to protect yourself, you disarm their ability to control you. Your time, energy, and love are precious resources, and you should never allow anyone to take them without offering something of equal value in return. By maintaining strong boundaries and not allowing manipulators to drain you, you safeguard your emotional and mental health, ultimately freeing yourself from their toxic influence. In the end, helping others should be a mutually fulfilling experience, one that uplifts both parties. But with manipulators, the relationship is never balanced, and you will always be left feeling empty and unappreciated. Recognizing the signs, taking steps to protect yourself, and standing firm in your boundaries are the keys to breaking free and regaining control of your life. You deserve relationships where kindness, respect, and reciprocity are at the forefront, not ones built on guilt, manipulation, and exploitation. Offering help to others is one of the most selfless and compassionate things a person can do. It demonstrates a deep sense of empathy and a genuine desire to make the world a better place. However, there is a fine line between helping someone and inadvertently enabling their negative behaviors. Not all forms of assistance lead to positive outcomes. There are individuals who exploit the help they receive, refusing to take responsibility for their actions and continuing harmful patterns. The Bible offers guidance on this matter, warning us about offering assistance in ways that enable others to remain stuck in their destructive behaviors. Proverbs 19:19 serves as a powerful reminder. A hot-tempered person must pay the penalty. Rescue them, and you will have to do it again. This verse underscores the importance of not rescuing someone from the consequences of their actions, as doing so can perpetuate a cycle of dependence and harm, rather than fostering growth and accountability. The enabler is someone who, out of a misplaced sense of compassion or a desire to avoid conflict, helps individuals in ways that allow them to continue their harmful or unproductive behaviors. They step in to ease the consequences of poor decisions or actions, thinking that by doing so, they are offering relief or support. However, what they fail to recognize is that their actions are preventing the individual from learning valuable lessons. When someone is consistently shielded from the consequences of their actions, they are never allowed to truly change or grow. They may become dependent on the enabler, expecting that they will always step in to bail them out, rather than facing the reality of their choices. This dynamic is particularly dangerous because it can lead to a false sense of security. The enablers may feel good about themselves for assisting, believing that they are doing the right thing by offering support. However, the individual receiving the help may not be grateful, nor are they likely to change their behavior. They may come to rely on the enabler more and more, expecting them to fix everything, even when they can change their circumstances on their own. This creates a harmful cycle, where the enabler's good intentions only serve to reinforce the recipient's negative behavior. The Bible offers wisdom on how to navigate these situations, urging us not to allow our compassion to blind us to the consequences of enabling others. While it is important to show kindness and offer support when needed, there is a fine line between helping and enabling. The key is to recognize when your actions are preventing someone from learning and growing. By continually rescuing them, you are not allowing them to take responsibility for their actions, which is essential for their personal development and emotional well-being. The Bible's warning about rescuing those who refuse to learn from their mistakes highlights the importance of setting boundaries, both for your well-being and for the growth of those you are trying to help. In addition to the enabler, several other types of individuals should be approached with caution when offering help. Each of these individuals presents a unique challenge, and it is important to be aware of the dynamics at play to avoid becoming trapped in unhealthy, one-sided relationships. First, the chronic victim is someone who constantly finds themselves in crisis, but never takes responsibility or makes any meaningful changes to their life. They repeatedly claim to be helpless, relying on others to fix their problems, without ever taking the necessary steps to improve their situation. While it is natural to want to help someone in need, the chronic victim often expects others to bear the emotional and practical weight of their problems, leaving them no incentive to take responsibility for their own lives. This type of person can become emotionally draining, as they rarely acknowledge their role in creating or perpetuating their crises. If you are still watching this video and find these lessons useful, please comment number 2 below to let me know that you are still watching this video with me. And don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Then there's the chronic complainer, who seems to be perpetually dissatisfied with everything, whether it's their job, relationships, or the state of the world. Nothing is ever good enough for them. They focus on flaws and shortcomings, yet rarely seek solutions to their problems. These individuals often seek attention by voicing their frustrations, expecting others to validate their grievances and reinforce their negative outlook. Helping a chronic complainer can be an exhausting and thankless task, as they are more interested in venting their frustrations than in making any real changes to improve their situation. The entitled person is another type of individual to be wary of. They believe that help is not something to be earned, but rather an obligation. They expect others to assist them without showing any gratitude or willingness to reciprocate. Their sense of entitlement can be overwhelming, and they may take advantage of the kindness and generosity of others without ever acknowledging it. Relationships with entitled individuals can quickly become one-sided, with the helper constantly giving but never receiving in return. Chronic liars are another group that can be particularly difficult to assist. These individuals manipulate others for personal gain, weaving elaborate tales that are designed to elicit sympathy or support. They are skilled at deceiving others, and their dishonesty often leads to a cycle of distrust and frustration. Helping a chronic liar requires caution, as their constant fabrications can drain your emotional resources, leaving you unsure of what is real and what is merely a manipulation. Opportunists view relationships and situations as nothing more than opportunities to exploit others for their benefit. They have no true interest in forming meaningful connections or offering help in return. Instead, they see every interaction as a chance to take advantage of others' generosity or resources. Opportunists often lack empathy and are quick to manipulate others to serve their interests, leaving their victims feeling used and exploited. Drama seekers thrive on conflict and chaos, creating turmoil to draw attention and manipulate those around them. They often enjoy stirring up drama in their personal lives, whether it's through exaggerated stories or by provoking others into confrontation. Their need for drama can be emotionally draining for those around them, as they constantly seek to escalate situations and maintain a sense of crisis. Helping a drama seeker can often feel like you are feeding into their need for attention, only to be left exhausted and frustrated. Finally, one-sided relationships are another type of dynamic that can be emotionally draining. These are relationships where one person is constantly taking but never giving in return. They may rely on others for emotional support, financial help, or time, but fail to offer any support in return. These relationships are often imbalanced, with the giving party becoming resentful and emotionally drained over time. It is important to recognize when you are in a one-sided relationship and take steps to set boundaries to protect your emotional well-being. Lastly, manipulators use emotional tactics to guilt others into helping them. They prey on the compassion and kindness of others, making them feel responsible for solving their problems. Manipulators are skilled at playing on emotions, creating a sense of urgency or crisis that demands immediate attention. They use guilt as a powerful weapon to pressure others into offering help, but rarely acknowledge the assistance they receive or offer anything in return. Being aware of manipulative behavior is crucial in protecting your emotional and mental health. Ultimately, when offering help, it's important to do so in a way that encourages personal growth and accountability. While showing kindness and compassion is essential, it's equally important to recognize when your actions are inadvertently enabling negative behaviors. By setting clear boundaries and offering support in a way that encourages responsibility and change, you can ensure that your help is truly making a positive impact rather than reinforcing harmful patterns. It's also important to recognize the individuals who may be taking advantage of your generosity and avoid falling into one-sided or manipulative relationships that drain your emotional and mental resources. By being mindful of these dynamics, you can offer help in a way that is truly uplifting and empowering for both you and those you are trying to assist. As we've explored today, understanding the dynamics of helping others is not just about offering support, but about doing so in a way that promotes growth, accountability, and healthy relationships. From recognizing the chronic complainer to understanding the enabler's role, we've covered important aspects of giving help that can either empower or unintentionally enable negative behaviors. It's crucial to establish boundaries, offer support thoughtfully, and avoid falling into toxic cycles that drain your emotional energy. So, what have you learned from today's discussion? Is there a particular takeaway that stood out to you, or something you're going to apply in your own life? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Please share one thing you've learned and how you plan to bring it into practice in the comments below this video. And if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel for more insightful content. Your feedback helps us grow, and we look forward to bringing you even more valuable tips in the future. See you in the next video.